What's up, guys? Mike here from Call Creators, and today we are talking about one of the attraction systems for building out your paid communities. And so we did a decade in digital marketing, testing every tactic. We built VSLs, we built webinars, we built websites, reputation marketing software. We tested every form of marketing, learning from all of the greats. And really, marketing is simple once you get the message down. Right? So that was another 7 years of the messaging framework so that you know what to say to the right people at the right time to get them to want to join your thing, right? And so this is one principle that I just kept coming back to, and it just encapsulates all of marketing in kind of one simple 4-part framework. And it's based on this book by Jack Schafer. So he was an ex-FBI agent. You can see his guide to influencing, attracting, and winning people over. So we call this the Soviet spy strategy because it was used to turn a Soviet spy into a double agent for the US, right? How do you get somebody to commit treason on their own country, become a double agent, and then spy on their own country, right? You know, something that he could get killed for. It's the same strategy that they used to convict criminals, get them to say and, commit guilt, like confess basically to crimes that would put themselves away for life. And so it's a simple strategy. And once you see this, it's like it just makes sense. And so it comes down to this 4 parts. So let's get into it. So it comes down to these 4 letters, PFDI. So the first one is proximity, right? And so what he did was his very first move was he would have to identify the individual that he wanted to persuade. And so, this is kind of like that Dream 100. You should know who it is that you want to target. At the minimum, if you're going very broad, right? Because that's the game these days, very broad social media style, then it's really about understanding who your target is. How do they identify? What are their values? What are their beliefs, right? How do we really get attraction? By getting attention first. And so it really starts with knowing who your audience is and then getting in front of them, right? So the first thing is building that proximity, getting close. And so once you know that, then you can find paid communities, right? So Schoolers is a perfect community for us to help schoolers, right? There's 172,000 people in there. So by us being in there and posting and commenting and flirting, right, we are getting closer to our perfect audience. Instagram is another platform, right? So it's a great platform for distributing content, right? Just get close to the people. We know people who are on Skool, people who have a paid community, they're on Instagram. They're constantly scrolling on Instagram, right? And then we know that YouTube has the highest LTV, lifetime value of any customer, right? More than Facebook, more than Insta. The people who come from YouTube often pay the most amount of money, meaning they stay the longest, they're the best customers. And you get paid to market, right? So by putting up YouTube videos, YouTube will pay for views, and then you send them to your paid group where you get paid again. And so we are on YouTube, Instagram, and Flirting in Skool. Proximity, right? Get close to your perfect audience. That's step 1. Step 2, right? Now that we know who our perfect person is, we're getting closer to them, right? Then it's about building frequency. So once we know and we're close to these people, now it's about them seeing us more often. This activates that law of familiarity. What we see more often builds more trust, right? It's that know, like, trust factor. If we just see somebody once and never again, it's very easy to forget about them. We don't know anything about them. But if somebody keeps showing up in your life time and time again, especially if they're saying the right things, right? Overlapping with the right values, overlapping with the same beliefs, showing insight into a world that you want, right? You see somebody who has achieved something, maybe $1 million a year community. And you're like, well, I want that. And they're continually giving value, showing insight of what they did. Then you're going to know, like, trust them, right? And start to move a little bit more towards wanting to be a part of that world. And so then it's just about creating the right posts, right? Marketing changes every day. The brain doesn't. And so it's just showing up every day on these platforms, right? Putting videos out on YouTube, putting content out on Instagram, and then flirting in that Schoolers community every day. And so what Jack did was he would find, right, for that spy, then he found the grocery store that he went to every Tuesday or whatever it was. And so then he just decided to go and hang out there every Tuesday. Then he knew he had to build frequency. So he would go every Tuesday. He would make sure that he showed up more often in terms. So that meant he would, instead of just standing outside, then after a few weeks, he would follow him around certain aisles, right? He would see what aisles that he's going in, what kinds of purchases he would frequent, and then he would just start getting closer, right? Just so he sees them more often. And so once we've built frequency, right, and this is the long game, just continually show up, keep showing up in these people's lives. And that's why it's even easier with the Dream 100, because if you know exactly the one person, right, if there's one influencer that has your kind of people, then how do you continually get closer to that person? Because then you can just be everywhere. And so, yeah, get close to them, frequency, proximity, get around them more often, frequency, and then the third. So number 3 is duration. Duration is just getting around them and being around them more often, longer. And so what he says in the book is that we start to trust people who we spend more time with, start to have more sway over how we make decisions in our lives. And so to build duration, we want to get them more involved in our world, right? So if we're looking at the marketing side of things, then once we've gotten in front of them, we're posting more often, then we want to start getting them into something that starts to dive deeper into the world that we're pitching, right? The vision of how we see the world, of what our process looks like, of what is our methodology going to do for you. And so that's where we like to have low ticket products or long form videos. And so this is where a VSL works really well, right? If you can get a 5, 10, 20-minute video sales letter where you have time to talk about like your origin story, like the pains that you went through, the struggles, you know exactly what they're going through. You've come out on the other side and you can share that story and you can share that method, right? We like to sell this book. So we have 27 psychological strategies, how we turned a membership from 0 to 1.2 million in 18 months with tattooed members. And so you can buy this book and it's like 95 pages. And so then there's duration, right? Then they're spending time reading about our story, about our tactics, about our life and what we did and how it can help them, right? Another thing is like a video course. So you can sell a low ticket video course and it's best when it sells step 1 and then your paid community can help them on step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so low ticket products are a great way to build duration. But what we're really looking for is to collect that email, right? Because the 4th and final step is to build intensity. We like to say intimacy because that feels, more flirty, more like a cult creator mentality, because you build intimacy in the inbox. And so this is where you really get to go hard, right? This is where they say you make your offers in the inbox. It's like a 40-to-1 ratio, like a 40-to-1 ROI on like return on investment. And so the best email copywriters, the people who have made millions of dollars, they say email your people every day. Dan Kennedy says that you have to treat your life like a soap opera and that your emails just show the behind the scenes. They like that people don't really care about your content. People will follow you for your own story. And so this is where you really get to build intimacy. You get to share your personal life. You get to share your struggles. You get to share the offers, right? You get to make offers several times a week. And so you can sell audits. You can sell low ticket products. You can sell access to the membership. You can sell a challenge that then gets them in the membership. But this is where it really happens, right? This is where you get to build intensity. And so that's the final step, right? Get close to them, get in front of them more often, get around them longer, like build that duration, get them invited into your world and start to really understand, and then get in their inbox and start building that intimacy, that intensity. And then it's just about pushing everybody to that paid community. And so if it can work to get somebody to put themselves in jail for the rest of their life or commit treason, I think it can work to get people into a paid community. And we just keep seeing this. So this is now our strategy. It's something that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. It's starting to work. We're starting to get paid members every single week. And it just keeps growing from there. So that is the cult creator model using the PFDI from Jack Schafer. So test it out. That is one of the attraction systems. As we know, a paid community really comes down to attracting the right members, getting them indoctrinated so that they engage, they drink the Kool-Aid, and then the retention systems, right? How to build that cult bonding, that mission, so that it's not about the content, it's not about the coaching, it's about all of us working together on one big mission together. And so this is step 1, right? How do we get the right people in so that they the group itself has so much cohesion that eventually people just get so indoctrinated into the mission of what we're doing that they never want to leave. But it all comes down to having the right message in front of the right people, said well. As they say, tell your story, tell it often. So that's the attraction system at a high level, and let's go get it. Put it to work. Let's see what it can do for you. Let's go.